Greetings. Well, you got these because I have the eye, yes, injury, and I don't know what's caused it, but it just does. It's not good to look at. So it's improved a little bit. So I feel like it's going to go away. Maybe an infection or something. Anyway, it's a time of infection. A couple things. Well, this is probably a short audio. It's really, I wanted to address my constant disappointment with, and I keep mentioning this, people hate being lectured to by celebrities wearing $10,000 gowns on their, privileged SAG awards or Academy Awards or Golden Globe Awards, and then being lectured to about Trump or about Musk or about Putin or about anybody else or what you should be thinking. And this is the issue. I flip on the telly, and the next thing I see is Hanoi Jane sitting up there. I mean, she looks great for an old lady. I mean, everyone will give her that. She looks great, amazing actually. But to have her start lecturing about woke, and she goes, "Woke means that you give a damn." No, woke means all the theft from U.S. taxpayers to the point of bankrupting the U.S. Woke means veterans starving on the streets while illegal immigration goes on, getting all the benefits, soaking up all the benefits and entitlements that should go to people who are citizens, who pay taxes, who play by the rules, who are deserving to be remunerated. You don't just hand out freebies to people because they cross a border. They're entitled to thousands and thousands of dollars while we let American citizens starve to death. This was the Biden policy. This is every Democrat's policy. And it's just extraordinary to me. I'm glad that at least one of the parties is trying to reform. I don't know how successful that'll be, because I know that right now the establishment Republicans and the entire Democrat Party are planning a coup d'etat against Donald Trump. But then you must have known that. So Jane, or Hanoi Jane, says that what she wants to do is lead the charge against Trump, that she'll lead the charge and basically making the same mistake that all the celebtards make. And I'm sorry, if there was any, Mel Gibson's a celebrity. I don't call him a celebtard. You know what I mean? He's a gracious, humble guy, and he's done some amazing work, and he's really kept me busy with at least a few hours of entertainment that were fantastic. I don't really seem to fit as a Republican. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. But I seem to be kind of this new party, if you will, that I guess people are now calling the Common Sense Party. Okay, the Common Sense Party is not a code word for right wing. Right wing just means anyone that disagrees with leftist ideology, which is basically ultimately totalitarian and enslavement, totalitarianism and enslavement, kleptocracy, run by billionaire and trillionaire oligarchs for the purpose of enriching themselves. No, I'm not for that, i.e. the left, which is the billionaire class, which is the elites, which is Jane Fonda, which is the $35-40 million houses up in Bel Air. These people are so out of touch. They have no idea what it's like to even pay for their groceries. So they're in no position to lecture anybody about anything, as Ricky Gervais said. They're not in any position. And the other thing they've got is a huge perversion problem, where they try to the only reason they come up with these gay rights groups is so eventually it can lead to children. which is everybody knows that. Everyone who knows anything knows that. People don't say it because they don't want to be listed as a homophobe, But then again, there's if they're going to be targeting children, i.e., with along UN guidelines, along guidelines of certain nations in the EU, that that pedophilia is perfectly right and normal for 3-year-olds, and that's what they want the U.S. to progress to. And so they do it with the trans movement, with the LGBTQ, and all the other DEI and woke. But it's leading to that. Then it must mean that Jane herself has got a problem in that area. But then again, have we ever met an actor that wasn't a whore? Okay, Trish. There's Trish. No, I'm just being facetious. This is how actors are thought about and talked about. They're not respected in industry other than the dollar figure that's on their heads, in other, i.e., like prostitution. But the idea of lecturing people about woke and saying woke means give a damn, it is now hilarious since it's an 80-20 issue. There's basically only about 20% of America would subscribe to woke, and 80% is against, including Democrats. So it's really simple that there's not just an upheaval, a revolution going on. There's a complete social upheaval, a la the fourth turning. So it's not surprising that things flip the other way. The pendulum flips the other way, and the people that are on the losing end of this thing, I guess the people in the middle always never get too hurt whichever way it flips. But if you're out on the extreme, like if you're an extreme Marxist, like as Hanoi Jane is, the millionaire Marxist are a dime a dozen. I mean, that's basically what they aim to do, is take over the Communist Party and become the oligarchs, the rulers, while the little people slave away doing their little tasks, which are, a lot of them are just invented for them to have something to do. There's no need for it. And that's, communism. It's an ideology that is, when you apply human ideologies, don't take into consideration nature, don't take into consideration God, nature, cosmos, purpose, all these basic ideas, then you wind up believing yourself to be a god, because they throw millions of dollars at you. You live in a big mansion, therefore you must be fit to go ahead and lecture the whole world about how Donald Trump is the cause. Once again, the Democrats, well, I just don't want to get in the way of these people defeating themselves, but they make Trump the issue. And there's a certain curse in that, a self-curse. By making Trump the issue, i.e., if we get rid of Trump, then the Democrats will win again, is a false paradigm. It's a false premise. It is it's a false statement. Trump is not the source of the issues the Democrats have. The Democrats' problem is that their ideology and their programs, their policies, were rejected by, basically overwhelmingly by Americans and the world, quite frankly, because nobody can live, in a world where you have nothing, you're happy, you eat bugs, and Klaus Schwab eats Wagyu beef. Carl Schwab eats Wagyu beef over in Thailand while meeting with his buddies and having all his, playtime with his ho-hos and his drugs and whatever else he's into. It's amazing to me how this celebrity thing works. It's much more serious than I think people thought. It's kind of like going back to the days of Greek mythology, where the celebrities that you see on your big screen are the gods of old who have come back in human form, and they demand worship. I'm thinking of like people like Ariana Grande, some of the singers, Lady Gaga. They literally demand worship. It's quite disgusting. And, because the people are stupid here, uneducated, they think that the celebrities are sort of godlike in that they have powers of singing or dancing or taking their clothes off or whatever it is. So that justifies the worship because they're living extraordinary lives where everybody else is living a normal life with a stupid job and a nowhere job and and some tabloids at the Walmart. So when you check out, you can see what the latest gossip is. Check in on your beloved, all these magazines, all the magazines about Hollywood, all the People magazine, and even Vogue and and all the even magazines like Sports Illustrated, have these woke policies, and it's extraordinary. Anyone that has a woke ideology, I don't. I don't. Well, it's not that I don't trust them. I don't. There's no connection. There's no way that we can communicate. So it's as if it's a different species. Like it's kind of like being in the zoo and seeing animals behind cages. The woke people are all behind these cages, rattling the cages, saying, "Let me out! Let me out! I know the way. You guys are all going the wrong way." And the people outside the cages are just like living their lives, going for freedom, making decisions, going their ways, and going on their career jaunts, and seeking their own happiness, whether and struggling with that, whether it leads up or down, whichever way it leads, because they have the freedom to do it. And thank God they have the freedom to make their mistakes. Um, but in terms of caring about people, woke, it just is a code word for hating people. And Jane Fonda's DEI and her woke and all the other policies are coming out of think tanks like the Ford Foundation. And, and the whole purpose of all of it is eventual depopulation and slavery. And are these people just fucking stupid? Are they so stupid? Right? I mean, we always used to joke about actors being stupid, you know what I mean? Unless you give them a good script, they're just dumb fucks. But they're proven right. I mean, Jane Fonda is as dumb as hell. And she sort of reminds me of a pretty version of Pocahontas. You know what I mean? Just like it's just, or a pretty version of an older grandma version of AOC or something. Just entitled, privileged, limousine liberal, completely out of touch with what people need or want. I had a name for her today that came to me after I saw the her shameful performance at the SAG. Does anyone even care about the SAG awards anymore? Does anyone watch it besides somebody that is dumb enough to join SAG? You know what I mean? It's unbelievable. SAG is the source of, the reason we do films, away from home or in other countries, and we actually have we actually hail from other countries in terms of our setup, the way we're set up, and we're as international, is because we don't want to deal with unions like SAG that tend to, um, cut in severely to the budgets of of indie. They don't really care about indies. They want to put indies out of business, and they don't really care. What they care about is the big company town and getting a piece of that streaming that they see on White Lotus or one of these new series, 1923 or whatever, 1823, yeah, whatever these series are. They're on TV. Game of Thrones, whatever. But as far as indie, the whole purpose of the big business is to consolidate into big business. That means to gobble up all the indies and make it impossible for indies to get. I mean, can an indie get $40 million for a picture? Because that's the amount of money you would need to compete with, say, a Netflix movie. No indie producer can get their hands on $40 million. and that kind of thing. And plus the talent, they go, well, all good talents, you got to go through SAG. And so they make it so that that no indie could prosper, so that all indie efforts would just be vanity efforts, and one could not make a go of being independent. And so therefore they would have to become, corporate slaves, just to do the corporate, to toe the company line. Like, what was it that Netflix or one of these came up with? The movie Civil War, which was basically pre-programming, predictive programming, brought to you by the Ford Foundation, the Carnegie Foundation, the UN, the WEF, and other groups. Okay, through the board, which is run by Obama. And and I mean, if they did through Netflix, I'm actually not sure now. I think it was A22, which is obviously a other people that are not too bright, you know what I mean, at all, who decide that they can win this culture war by having a civil war, and then finally having a black woman kill the Trump character in the White House, blaming the whole thing, and then everyone's happy. Of course, that's not going to happen. And, that kind of sort of linear, I suppose it would be, I can't call it regressive thinking, that everything reduces down to Trump, and that we'll have an entire civil war just to go kill him. And no, don't put it past him. That film was very powerful, by Mr. Alex Sellout Garland. And he's a big time prostitute. You know what I mean? They told him what to do. They said jump, and Alec Garland said, "Well, how high? I'll jump as high as you want." Alex, whatever. And so he comes out with this movie showing, only the educated limousine liberal knows the way to a good world, which is basically, if you look at the leftist playbook, if they've thrown out Saul Alinsky, then now they have like this playbook that just says, get Donald Trump, and now get Elon Musk. And so they would be willing to go to war. Some other comments, political comments, things I notice. James Carville, the old sage of the Democrat Party, came forward yesterday and said that Donald Trump's organization and the Republican Party, Trump's Republican Party, is crumbling, and in 30 days it will be no more. Okay, what he's talking about, so I want to just break it down for the people out there, because he's not being honest. He is saying that there will be attempts on Trump's life, and there will be attempts to disrupt Trump's plans, and the Republican Party. They're going to throw everything that they can think of in the next month. And then he said, Democrats, all they have to do is sit back and let it happen. So he's talking about plans that they have to go violent. And he's actually called for violence already. So that's what he's talking about. He's talking about civil war. And I just want to make sure you understand that you can break it down. When he says the party won't be there in 30 days, the only way the party wouldn't be there in 30 days is if he has some deal with a militia military force that would go in and take out the White House or something along those lines. So that's what he's predicting or hoping for. But I'm here to tell you that, Carville, you're not going to get what you've hoped for. You might even get put in jail, okay, for sedition, because you are a disgusting, undeserving person in this country. You should be a foreigner. You should be in another country. You should be somewhere like Cuba. That would be you could be the advisor to to the president, and or Venezuela or something like that. But as far as this country, you don't belong here. You belong in a banana republic. Okay, somewhere that's so corrupt that you just buy politicians and carry on the way the Democrats have here for the last 40 years. And the problem is those times are over. They're over. And, Trump is well aware of Carville's words and the threat that he faces. And so what they're doing is they're preemptively disappearing people. They're not reporting on some of these things. They can't. Just like in war, you don't report on, you could capture a whole battalion somewhere and it won't be reported on, right? So they're having to go out and, round up the lieutenants and the people that would run these kind of terror attacks, because the left is basically terrorists. That's what they really are. That's why they called white people terrorists, and they call them all MAGA people are terrorists. They're calling people what they already are. And when I say that, I have to add in the Adam Kinzingers and Dick Cheney is a huge proponent of limousine liberalism. And he used to be a Republican, during the Bush time, and got us into Iraq, and the rumors had it that he was running the 9/11 airplane fiasco and an attack on the trade towers, that he was running that in coordination with everybody else, because they pulled the building, meaning they had it already pre-wired to blow. And so rather than gather evidence of the planes and all that, they went ahead and pulled the building and then collapsed all the buildings, including Building 7, which no plane hit, for the purpose of covering up the evidence that they did it. It's funny, my own discernment. I don't have a lot of discernment when it comes sometimes to personal issues, but when I saw the plane go into the the tower on 9/11, when we had the attack that Tuesday, I think it was a Tuesday morning. Basically, I immediately thought of Dick Cheney and Bush, and I saw Bush reading to these kids, and he had the book upside down. So this sort of cartoon book he was reading. So some whatever he was reading, I forget what it was now, but when he got the word that the attack had happened, he went right into gear. He knew just what to do. Put the book down, got up, and got out of there. But his alibi was he was innocently reading to children. So obvious, right out of this is just like pedantic filmmaking. And I think a lot of this kind of filmmaking, this propaganda filmmaking, has really leaked its way into Hollywood, so that I see a lot of things. I was watching the Reacher series. The problem with that is Reachers is a basically justifying lawlessness, for the right outcome, and that Reacher he's a hero because he's kind of a vagrant and he doesn't need anything. He doesn't have anything. And then he helps out on these cases. But when he helps out, it means he kills people and he arranges things. So I was looking at that and I got bored. Well, actually, I got bored with Reacher. And so I went over to White Lotus and checked that out, because I was mildly entertained by that the last couple of years. And it was weird, my reaction. I watched for a little while and I realized I was feeling uncomfortable. And then I realized that, because I like unlikable characters at times, like sometimes I love the villains and I like to like everybody, in a film, even if I can't stand them, in a sense, the way they're drawn, there's still this bond you feel, you still have sympathy for the characters, even though they may be villains. In this case, I just hated all the characters. And I gave it another chance. I went on to episode 2, which had just dropped last night. And episode 2 was even worse than episode 1. It was like, I think this guy's written out, this Mike White guy that is putting this on, he's written out, because, it was just going over stuff. There was like It was like he had his little sex thing, his little masturbation porno thing with one brother being innocent, one not, and one indoctrinating the other. And then they had something like, businessmen who were in trouble that couldn't pay attention to their wives, wives getting the hots for these local fit buff islanders, Thailand, right? They're in Thailand. But you wouldn't know they're in Thailand because they're in a remote location that is, they could have been anywhere, just out of the jungle somewhere. There was no Phuket or no city, no cuisine, no nothing of Thailand that you usually see. And it was also boring. And I thought, that's a disappointment, because I thought, the White Lotus thing was, last time they really focused on the gays and this whole sort of gay conspiracy, and that's kind of in this a little bit, but kind of a moot thing of it. And it's kind of like, once you've exhausted those jokes, because these are like, this is like sitcom type comedy. So White Lotus is basically a sitcom. That's all, without a laugh track. I think Mike White should put a laugh track in there and try to make more sympathy for it. Because I mean, I hate the good people too. I hate everybody in it. I just hate every single person. And I'm just like, God, you know what? Why don't I feel any good? I don't feel good because I don't like the characters. I don't care what they're going through. And then they had a problem with like terrorists showing up and robbing the place, and then I just thought, what better way to end this than to have some guy show up with a machine gun and just mow them all down? Save us the trouble of having to watch anymore and just have it be a big tragedy. And that would have been, Mike White could have redeemed himself. But what he's done is gone into this sort of self-indulgent. I admit he writes dialogue very well. I like that part of it. I liked the cinematography, and music was pretty good. And of course, I always like an island, and I like the premise of White Lotus. I just think it could be so much better if people brought some fresh ideas to it. Something, because when it came out, it was novel, and then it repeated that, and that was fine. And then now it's the third season, so they need something. They need to kick it up some in order to, and again, characters that are, helpful and nice, hate them. Characters are just disgusting women, socialite women at their worst. And I hate them. I've hated them all my life. It's the, it's the ladies at the tennis tournament with their tennis bracelets, comparing the rocks on their finger. Can't stand them. Would move out of all society and give everything up just to make sure I never see one of them again. And then you take everything away from them, and all they do is scream and yell like petulant children. And that's a lot of what you're seeing, I think, politically. You're seeing the screaming and yelling like petulant children. And they're looking for a leader. So Jane Fonda agrees to become the leader. And she's no leader, believe me. She's completely backwards on everything. And, she has all this stuff that backwards is forwards with her. Welfare and slavery is good. That means you care. Entrepreneurship and success is bad. Trump is bad. But illegal migration is good. And, and we go on and on and on. Veterans are bad. But people that cross the border illegally are good. And they should have those benefits that the veterans should have had. They should get them because the veterans are useless. And it just goes on and on like that. So when people now complain, they go, well, I haven't seen anything out of 2 years ago. It was much easier to see stuff on Netflix and Amazon Prime and Apple TV and HBO Max, all that. It was much easier to see good content. And now the biggest movie that they have streaming is The Gorge. and the gorge is it's very. I can tell you, just to me, it's very much a goofball monster movie. Is what it is, and it starts, kind of cool with a great love story going with Anna Taylor Joy, and Miles Teller, who are great together in it, and that should have been exploited. And then they have to fight off these little monsters that were made from nuclear radiation that are like part tree, part human, part this, part that. And it seems the gun, even though they look amorphous and like they're hollow, a gun can hurt, can blow them away. Even if it shoots a bullet right through them, it seems to blow them away. It made no sense whatsoever, and it was. And the people online are all just raving about it. Oh, it's the best movie we've ever produced, best movie Apple has ever streamed. It's absolutely the best, with the best actors ever, and that just makes me realize there's really no hope in corporate cinema, in commercial cinema, and there's no hope in these actors either, since to get there, they do have to pretty much prostitute themselves just to be able to get on that screen. And then by the time they're there, you can see they're sort of not full of vim and vigor like they were. They're cool now. They need to be worshipped. And yeah. So Jane is there to lead them. And Hanoi Jane is going to lead everyone out of darkness and save the Democrat Party, where she feels that the Democrats are the only ones that can help. I don't limit to Democrats. I say welcome to all people, all parties, everybody. Big Tent. Everybody can get along. All religions, all people, all political persuasions, because my quest is not political. My interest is not political at all. I have no interest in building up the Democrat Party, the Republican Party, or tearing one down. I have no interest in any of that. I do have interest in how the country is led, and I do have interest in oversight in terms of corruption. I do have an interest in weeding out corruption and being law and order. I do have interest in borders. I do have interest in tariffs and all that. I think it's a fantastic idea to go with tariffs instead of income tax. It's a no-brainer. And for the people, it'll be like, this would be a real game changer for people. You'd see a lot more investment, a lot more growth, and a lot more success. That means more people working, more people able to share in the dream. But, the Democrats can't handle that because they want you dependent on them. They will dole out your money for you after gorging themselves on it. And I would think by now people would be not as stupid as they appear. Because, I live in a blue state, and Santa Fe, New Mexico, I don't live in the city, I live in the county. But when I do go into town, I'm reminded that Santa Fe City may be the dumbest the dumbest people ever to breathe, or at least one of them. I guess you could add to that Telluride, Colorado. You could add to that, Sundance. You could add to that, Denver. You could add to that. I don't know. The strongholds of. I guess what they've tried to do with Arizona, they tried to make Arizona a blue state, and they cheated. The biggest cheater in Arizona, it's the governor named Katie Hobbs, and she cheated to actually get her seat. Her seat was bought for her, and it was given to her with the express quid pro quo that she would do for Soros and do for the party what she was told to do. And that has to do with the voting still not really worked out, but she also co-engineered it. So here's something you don't know about her. She is a mastermind, and she masterminded her governorship. She bought it. It's like, okay, let me put it another way. She borrowed the money from Soros company and unlimited funds from the left, okay, and promised that she would turn Arizona blue for them, for her owners, because she is not free. She's obviously a slave. All you have to do to figure that out is look at her in the eye. You can see it. And then, so it's like she took a loan to buy the seat, meaning she was in charge of the apparatus that was cheating, of all the different components that went into the steel. It wasn't like she was separate from it and going, "Oh, I got to be governor. I'm so lucky. I can't believe I won that vote." And Carrie Lake can just go walking, and these people are trying to take my governorship away. I'll fight for it. I earned it fair and fair and square. When in actuality, Katie Hobbs engineered the steel along with her partners. I mean, but she's the head of that. She is a player. I didn't know that. And it's not reported. It's believe what you will. Okay, I'm alleging that, and I have no proof whatsoever except what a little bird told me. And I said to the little bird, "You don't say." She engineered, she led, she dealt with the press. She was one of the masterminds, one of the architects of the steel in Arizona. Absolutely. She quarterbacked it. Wow. I didn't think she was that good. You know what I mean? She doesn't seem that smart. But then again, part of her image is looking like a mom, when in actuality she's a soldier. And I think people underestimated her. Now, she is one of the ones who challenged Trump. Now, what's exciting coming up, and I hope you enjoy this as much as I do, I just can't wait for the confrontation with the governor of Maine, the governor of Colorado, and the governor of Arizona. I will absolutely love every second of that, as it will be a near civil war. And I'm going to cheer it on, because once it swings against you, look at all the crow we've had to eat to comply somewhat with what they want to do to us, even though we didn't do jabs, we didn't do their whole lockdown thing, we didn't do DEI, we didn't do the pronouns. I have yet to call anyone by their pronouns because I just don't understand the concept. I just, you know what I mean? Like yes, sir. I know you're dressed in a dress and you got pretty makeup on, you got big thick lips, and probably a lot of guys would fall for you, but you're a man. So you're he, right? Your pronoun is he or him, right? That's your pronoun. There is no other pronoun. And I haven't gotten in trouble for it, but you don't really see that many, trans people that are really, really convincing. Those kind of like really glamorous ones are usually prostitutes, and they're high end, I mean, you're talking, thousands a night. Okay. And what they want to do and what they're doing online, and just Google TS transsexual. They used to be called transsexuals, so they still are in the for escorts and stuff. And just get a list of TS prices and see what that gives you. I think by state, and then you would see what it is to rent one of these sex workers. And if you look at those, they are, every bit as glamorous as any woman, as any beauty queen, and even then some, because a lot of them overcompensate, and they go even further and further into perfecting their look and being better than the woman, and that's their main thing. So that they feel if they can be prettier than the woman, they can attract a man. I mean, that's the idea. is to attract a man, you really have to pull it off. I mean, you can't just, you know what I mean? You can't just put a wig on and expect, okay, these guys are all transphobic. Sorry. What guys are looking for is, they want a man. They want a penis, but they want to discover it, surreptitious. They want to, it's a game. They want to play a game of thinking they got a date with a woman, and then there's a penis down there. And then that gets them all excited. I don't want to go into it. I just think this makes it so that I was talking to my friend about the Mexican trans, which are more glamorous than the girls here, than the men here who dress up, whatever. And my friend was telling me, yeah, in Mexico, they are the hottest girls anywhere are the trans. Well, I don't know what he called them, the trans women, the transsexuals. He said, and many a man falls for them, and then of course they get teased. You're a faggot now. You know what I mean? And all these expletives. And no, it was a woman. I'm sure it was. Oh yeah. Well, we see what you're all about. In other words, they're doing something naughty. Breaking a taboo will provide more excitement. But whatever it is, it's a big industry. And I got nothing against trans people, or I just don't want to play. I'm not going to play the game of trans people, trans boys competing with girls on girls' teams. I'm completely down with the U.S. government. I am not in favor of them stealing trophies and awards from girls, because girls, they need to have their own sports and compete and have their trophies and whatnot. There doesn't need to be this extra drama of, putting a guy on the basketball court and then watching him dominate. That just isn't, it's not only just not right, it's completely un-American. It's completely unfreedom. It's a dictatorial situation. And I'm for freedom. So I guess my political party would be common sense freedom. Me personally, it's God, God first. And that's the only way I got through the last 15 years is God, because it's been a lot of opposition, especially being around Hollywood, and then realizing that Jesus is real, and following Jesus, and then getting the blowback and gang stalked and all the rest of it from LA, and then losing my career, as it were. It just ended abruptly. And, they're trying to bring me back now. And here I am, I better eat a lot of health foods, right? And get a lot of good sleep, and be a real Boy Scout here. But it's a nasty world, man. And it's a lot nastier than, with all due respect, it's a lot nastier than Alex Jones paints it. When you get down to the street level, down to the nub of it, it's much more cruel than one can ever imagine. And he's right about cruelty in government, but when it gets down to the street, it's even more cruel. Nobody has to give you a reason to target you or attack you. That's leading me into the realm of targeted individuals. Well, the news media openly talks about targeted individuals and acknowledges they're real. I just heard a report last night about these targeted individuals, about a woman who was in prison for 22 years, and she's only halfway through her 45-year sentence. And Trump heard about her, and I forget what she went there for, but it was a bogus charge. And he made her the head of pardons. He released her, forgave her, whatever that means legally, and made her the head of pardons for the prison system. In other words, to go over people's records and recommend to the president who should be pardoned. She's in charge now of the people that put her in prison in the first place. And this is, I'm all for that too. All for justice, letting people, if they didn't do anything, let them out of prison. I'm not for jailing people just because they back Trump or they back Biden or they back James Carville or they back Kamala Harris. I don't care who they back. You shouldn't go to jail for your political choice. You have a choice on the ballot, but apparently not enough of one, because if you're MAGA, they want to put you in prison or kill you. And so, they're being honest, at least. You can never commiserate. You can never mingle with that side of things, people over there. To protect yourself, you got to keep your head down, your eyes open, and you need to be sober, because, the enemy, the devil, is like a roaring lion, swaggering all over the place, looking for whom he can devour. What does that devour mean? Devour means the devil, Satan, is looking for weak souls that are subject to being inducted into evil. And, he's allowing, and Satan's allowed to pick those off. If you really had it pounded into you that you got to fight for your salvation, even though you didn't earn it, didn't have to earn it, you believed and you agreed and you prayed in Jesus' name, the Lord took you. At the same time, everybody gets the Job test. And for most people, the Job test is going to be the very satanic targeting of individuals. That's one thing that the other side does that the God-fearing doesn't do. But the other side, if you're being targeted, there's some things you need to know. First of all, the people you're dealing with have supernatural properties when linked together for common cause. And you cannot defeat that. It's too powerful. It transcends time and space. They have the ability to be ahead of you so that you're walking into their trap. And without God's grace, knowledge, intervention, and basically showing you the way you have to go, without that, you will get caught in their lair, and they will have their way with you. Whether it is to commit suicide or whether it is to be prostituted or whatever, it doesn't matter what it is. With women, they like to get them on drugs and start pimping them out. It's pretty amazing how that happens. But in Jane Fonda's universe, the way things used to be under Biden, which was a complete joke of a joke of a joke of a joke. I mean, the FBI literally, the cartoon descendants of the Keystone Cops at best. A complete embarrassment to their calling and their badge. Because law enforcement's serious. You can't have a country without law enforcement. You need to also protect the children. And now today, you got to protect the children from the school and from their parents. But Hanoi Jane will tell you otherwise. She's woke, and she's coming after Trump. And she feels that she will be successful. Carville says Trump is over with. He is collapsing in 30 days. I say when those 30 days are up, go ahead and tweet him and tell him what you think of how, he's also the guy that predicted that Kamala Harris would win. No problem. So there you go. So anyway, that's about all I've got to say about that today. I just feel like I've, exhausted a certain theme. It's so repetitive, though. I have to be repetitive. I don't like to be repetitive. But, Hanoi Jane sticks her nose out again, and she needs to be shut up. She needs to be, feel some modicum of embarrassment before she flaps her flappers. and starts in with this, guilting people because they voted for Trump or they identify with Musk. No, they're going to try to whip it up into a war. And everything you see them do will be for the cause of war. That Civil War painting or movie is etched in their minds. And that's what they want. They want a civil war. I believe that a civil war, the biggest mistake that could happen is that they get their way, because they would be, in today's terms with who has the guns and such, they would be annihilated in the first 10 minutes. Unless all the reports are wrong about how many people have guns. So that's about it, folks. And I will see you next time. Shalom, shalom. And let's pray we get our hostages home. Let's pray we get the released. Pray for Trump and company, especially with the new incumbent of the FBI, Kash Patel, that these people don't get complacent and hamstrung, but that they keep going forward. I'll see you next time.
It's okay, 'cause I got the card. I got my mark, I can buy my bread. Nobody give me no trouble, 'cause I'm led. I got no mind, I got no soul. I got nothing I need anymore.